G'day all, welcome back. And on this video, we're going to get stuck back into the VL. So it's probably been 6 or 7 months since the last video that I did on this car. But now that the VS is done, we can get back into this one. So this is the next project that's going to be painted. So since the last video that I did on this car, I've since got the engine bay primed. So the only thing left for me to do now is the radiator support panel. All this engine bay was a simple cleanup, and we've basically smoothed everything from the strut towers forward. We're not going super crazy in there because we don't want to, get lost and spend hundreds of hours in there, because you definitely can. So we've just tried to keep it somewhat simple. Draw that line of what we're doing and what we're not going to do. But basically, fuse box is going in the glove box, so we've removed the brackets, welded up the holes. Battery's going in the boot, so we've removed the tray, welded in a new section down there, deleted some of the factory press marks that are in the driver's side wheel well there, same as the passenger side, got rid of that little one. Just tidied it up enough where it does look nice and presentable, but without getting too carried away where, you're working on an engine bay for 12 months. So the only thing left to do now is the radiator support panel. Had some damage from, battery acid and things like that. So we're gonna finish getting rid of the paint off there, get some primer on that, and then we'll start rubbing it down to get some fresh sauce on it. So let's get stuck into it. All right, so a quick little look at the engine bay. Just run through it real quick. So it's all looking pretty good. So now we're going to move on to doing all this front section. Now, majority of it you don't see once the nose cone's on, but I do want to clean it up, because if it was my own car, I'd want to clean it up. So, I like to treat other people's cars as if they are my own. So even though we don't see it, I've bare metaled most of it. So what I'm going to keep doing is basically wherever the sander will fit, I'll keep sanding. So I've just got the old 6-inch with some 240 on it, and basically wherever that fits, I'm going to run over it. I'm not trying to bare metal the whole thing. However, it's probably going to end up that way, because there's no point doing majority of it and then just leaving a few little bits here and there. This side is still pretty good. It starts to get a bit, banged up and knocked around along here, obviously, and over there was battery acid and things like that, and things like that we're gonna clean up. So majority of that probably will be bare metaled. Look, it's probably the better way to do it. Then, once it's primed, it's going to look absolutely perfect. So we're going to get into that, knock this over, and where the headlights sit, I had to do a bit of a repair here. This was all crushed in, so I've hammered and dollied that out and shaped that up. I've got to also try and shape this up a little bit, but that's no big deal. We'll be able to do that, no worries. And then basically what I'll do is I'll just scuff in here, because there's nothing wrong with it. Just for the sake of, not doing, more than what we have to, because as I said, this engine bay is just supposed to be a bit of a quick tidy up and just make it look nice and neat. So we're going to get into this. All these little bits, you're probably going to, fight with these. So I do use a little 3-inch air sander with a coral wheel on it, which will get into most of these little areas. All the other little bits, look, little wire wheel, it's a bit time consuming, but you don't want to prime over all little, bits of crap that's stuck in all these edges, because when you prime it, it's going to look crap. So we're going to dig all that out. And then that'll do it. So let's get stuck into it. All right, so I'm all done with it. I did get a bit carried away and I just stripped a lot. There's a couple little areas that are still there, but look, all the bad bits that needed to be done are done. So all these little bits that I wanted to get rid of all the paint in there, all out. I would have liked to have pulled that spring out, but anyway, so everything's done. So I'm basically gonna, edge it out with some masking and get it primed up, and then the engine bay will be ready to be rubbed down and get her into the booth and flick some paint on it. All right, so here we are now. Rad Sport's all primed. So now comes the time where it's time to put the work in and rub it down. So I'm going to do all this by hand. I wouldn't really recommend using an air sander because with all the curves and things like that, you'll probably just chop straight through your primer, and that's what you don't want to happen. So we're going to do it all by hand now. Fortunately, that takes time, so it is what it is, but yeah, it'll be worth it in the end when we put the colour on and it all looks sweet. So let's get in and get it done, eh? Alright, so we're in the booth and we're ready to go. So it's all masked up. Look, would have been nice to pull all that out, but we're not going to. So had the fun job of masking her all up, but now we're ready to paint. So let's get into it and get it done, eh? Alright, so the VL engine bay is all done and painted. I didn't film painting it because I just wanted to get it done. Sometimes the filming and stuff just drags it out how long it should take, so I didn't film that, but got it done. It's come up pretty good, pretty happy with it. A couple little bits of shit in it here and there that I'll rub out and polish, but overall pretty happy with it. So now we'll be able to get onto the body and get that painted and get this thing out the door as quick as we can. Alright, so just to finish the video off, I thought I'd give you a look at it unmasked, out of the booth. I was hoping there was going to be a little bit more sun so it could really show the pop of the colour, but it's a bit overcasty here, so we're going to have to just make do with what we got. So I'll flip the camera around, give us a bit of a look at it, see what you reckon. So let's have a look at it. Alrighty, so this is the bay all unmasked out in the sun, or what sun we've got. That's all finished up, so the colour looks totally different with some light on it than it does in the booth. Really just pops a lot more. It's a beautiful colour when it's fresh, that's for sure. So what I've done is stone guarded all the inner guards. That there to me is basically just finishing the job off. I think if you don't do it, it can let it down. I mean, even though, look, you don't see it once the guards and everything are on. But to me, that just finishes it off nicely. If I really wanted to get into it, I could do the black around the edge of the headlights there. But, I'll probably just leave it at that, I think. I think it's pretty well done and looks good. The owner's come, had a look, he's stoked, so that's all that matters. And I mean, I'm pretty happy with it too, so that's a bonus. So, yeah, I mean, for a bay that, you know, we just sort of did minor smoothing, I think it looks 100 times nicer, you know, without going too silly in there and getting too involved and losing track of time. I think it was a good decision just to sort of do from the towers forward. But, that is it, all done and dusted. So now we'll move on to the body and get that rubbed down and hopefully get the car in the booth within the next couple of weeks and get it hit as well and really start to see this thing coming together. So that is that. All right, so that's going to finish up that video. Now, obviously, we're going to move on to the body. I want to get that painted, and then we're going to move on to the bumper bars, the moulds, the side moulds, quarter window moulds, you know, door handles. Then we'll do the blackouts. VL's got so many little fiddly bits that it nearly takes longer to do all that sort of stuff than it does, you know, to rub that whole car down and paint it. So the main priority is to get the car painted before it gets too hot. You know, won't be long when we're coming into summer, and as many know, you know, I work full time, so I'm not over here in the shed, you know, constantly working. So I've got to, you know, use my time wisely. So, but we're kicking along all right. We're kicking along now, so that's a good thing. And I'd hope in the next month or so, you know, the car will be painted, and it'll start to look like a car again. So, thanks to all the new subscribers. Thanks to everyone that's watched and watching, and the subscribers that have, you know, stuck watching the channel. It's much appreciated. You know, if you're into your VLs and you like watching this sort of stuff, consider subscribing and following along. There will be another one after this. I've got my never-ending story over there in the corner waiting. So the plan is to do mine once this one's done and the old ute is painted as well. So and I've got the EH over there as well to get stuck into. So yeah, we'll leave it at that. I'll stop rambling on, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. So I'll see you then. Cheers, guys.